Hey everyone, welcome. Today we are jumping right into a visual explainer that I am absolutely thrilled to share with you. We're going to take a really profound look at the authentic, ancient tantric system. Now, if you've been following this topic, you already know that the West kind of heavily misunderstands Tantra. So today, we're looking directly at the source texts. We're exploring this majestic framework where the physical body, and literally all its biological functions, acts as the exact vehicle you need for cosmic enlightenment. We're going to map out exactly how physical matter transforms into spiritual illumination.
Okay, let's dive into this, and honestly, let's just shatter some of those modern misconceptions right out of the gate. The common, profane view of sex, it's brief, it's super goal-oriented, and it's entirely focused on a localized genital climax. It's essentially just biological release. But tantric sexuality is a completely different paradigm. It's process-oriented, theoretically infinite, and entirely focused on a full-body spiritual union. In Tantra, physical intimacy isn't some frenzied rush to the finish line. It is a highly calibrated meditative practice that's actually designed to dissolve the ego completely.
So, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the tantric vision. Then we'll map out the awakening of the chakras. From there, we'll hit diet as preparation and behavior and discipline, before finally exploring the ritual of Maituna and the ultimate path to illumination.
Part 1. The Tantric Vision of Sexuality and Seeing the Body as a Temple.
You know, in a lot of ascetic traditions, the human body is treated like a trap or an obstacle or even a sin. Tantra flips that entirely. To really grasp this, we have to talk about Shiva and Shakti. Tantra is built on this dualistic philosophy. You've got Shiva, which is supreme consciousness, and Shakti, the supreme dynamic energy. Literally everything in the universe comes from the union of these two principles. And the tantric practitioner isn't just sitting around thinking about this intellectually. They are actively seeking to embody this divine cosmic duality. Human physical connection actually becomes a sacred, living reflection of the universe's creation.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole point. By the very acts that cause many men to burn in hell, the yogin obtains eternal salvation. It's a wild paradox, right? But Tantra is totally unique because it uses worldly, fleshly desires, the exact things that normally bind us to ignorance, as the literal levers needed for spiritual liberation. It is, quite literally, an alchemy of the flesh.
Section 2. Awakening the chakras and mapping that cosmic energy.
So how does this physical transformation actually happen? Well, at the very core of this energetic anatomy is Kundalini. Think of it as this incredibly potent, serpentine biological and spiritual energy that sits coiled right at the base of the spine. And crucially, this energy is intrinsically linked to our sexual drive. Now, normally, this energy flows downward for the biological purpose of reproduction. But the whole goal in Tantra is to awaken this energy and reverse its flow, pushing it upward for spiritual evolution.
Basically, this journey kicks off at the Muladhara, right down at the base of the spine. That's the earth element where our base sexual drive lives. As the practitioner controls and redirects this energy, it rises up through the Swadhisthana, which is all about water and sensuality. Then it has to be pulled all the way up through the Ajna, the third eye, the command center of the mind, until it finally bursts into the Sahasrara at the crown of the head. That crown chakra is the cosmic realm. That is the site of ultimate mystical liberation.
Moving on to Part 3, Diet as Preparation, also known as Ana Tantra.
Now, obviously, you can't just jump straight into intense energy work. The physical temple has to be meticulously purified first. The source texts are super clear here. The energy channels in our bodies, our nadis, are incredibly subtle. Heavy, dead foods like red meat, they literally block the flow of prana. So, to help that upward rush of Kundalini, the diet has to be light and pure. Practitioners drop the artificial stuff and move toward vegetarianism. Actually, a lot of advanced practitioners swear by frugivorism, a totally fruit-based diet, because fruit is considered living energy that vibrates at a way higher frequency. Plus, every single meal is blessed. Eating itself becomes a sacred act of absorbing cosmic energy.
Now, what's really fascinating here is this incredibly pragmatic rule from the ancient text, the Garanda Samhita. It's not just about what you eat, it's about how much. The golden rule is 50% food, 25% water, and you absolutely must leave 25% empty space. Why? Because without that empty space, you literally cannot do the deep pranayama, the intense breath control that's required to move sexual energy up the spine. Basically, overeating stifles your spiritual progress.
Part 4. Behavior and Discipline and purifying the temple.
Because dietary purity has to be matched by physical and environmental purity before engaging in sacred intimacy. A tantric practitioner has to be flawlessly clean. This means starting with ritualistic baths, often alternating hot and cold water to literally shock the biological prana into gear. Then, you move into asanas and pranayamas to completely wipe the mind of any daily anxieties. And finally, the room itself is purified. You're using natural incenses like sandalwood or myrrh to elevate the room's energetic frequency. You are literally preparing a space for a divine encounter.
Section 5. The Ritual of Maithuna, the Sacred Union.
All of that preparation brings us to the core of it all. And breaking down the phases of Maithuna proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that tantric sex isn't just about the physical act. I mean, the actual physical union, Kriya Nishpati, is only phase 5. The ritual starts completely in the mind, with smarnanam, just visualizing the union. It moves super slowly through observing your partner, speaking gentle words of love, and then engaging in deep, energetic massage. These preliminary stages of presence and affection are considered every bit as sacred as the physical connection.
And here is the absolute defining mechanic of the whole practice. During the union, the crucial technique is suspending the physical climax. By avoiding that common genital ejaculation, the massive buildup of sexual energy literally has nowhere to go but up. It is forced to rise through the chakras right into the brain, triggering a transphysiological, full-body psychic orgasm. This is exactly how biological energy gets converted into spiritual illumination.
We also absolutely need to talk about the dynamic between partners here. In a profane worldview, women are often objectified, right? There are unequal power dynamics. Tantra violently rejects that. The tantric view elevates the feminine principle completely. The female partner is revered as Shakti. She is the living goddess, the energetic guide of the entire ritual. Even things like menstruation, which have been historically stigmatized, are viewed in Tantra as times of incredibly powerful, sacred alchemy. The male practitioner literally worships his partner as the embodiment of the cosmos.
During this union, sometimes called the dance of Devi, everything is incredibly fluid. You have ritualistic nudity, but that's not just about being unclothed. It's about actively stripping away your ego and your social masks. The touch is continuous and deeply affectionate. It's all governed by synchronized, deep breathing. There is literally zero rush. By completely removing the pressure of an end goal, the ego just begins to dissolve, and you get this pure merging of yin and yang energies.
Finally, Part 6, the path to illumination and reaching samadhi.
So what does this all mean? All of this discipline, the diet, the breathing, retaining the energy, worshiping your partner, it all leads to a state called samadhi. This is the peak of the mountain. It's a state of transconceptual ecstasy where the illusion that you are just a separate, isolated ego completely shatters. That sexual energy, Kundalini, has successfully traveled from the root all the way to the crown, completely transforming into pure spiritual illumination. You merge entirely with the Absolute.
There's this quote from our sources that I absolutely love. It is not the man who makes love. They are two cellular republics, two universes that meet. In true Tantra, any personal selfishness or performance anxiety or that tiny little I, it all vanishes. You aren't just two people in a bedroom anymore. You're literally a macrocosmic event unfolding.
So the real takeaway here is that by removing the finality of a physical climax, the union totally transcends biology. It moves onto a trans-physiological plane because it never ends. It just becomes this infinite state of meditative grace. It's an endless cycle of energy exchange that continuously nourishes both the body and the spirit.
We have covered a ton of ground in today's explainer, looking at how the absolute densest parts of our biology can literally be the keys to the cosmos. So I want to leave you with this final thought. If your physical body is an entire sacred universe, how will you choose to inhabit it today? How does this profound tantric lens change the way you view your everyday habits, the food you're eating, and the intimate connections you share? Thank you so much for exploring this wild topic with me. Keep learning and keep asking the big questions.